Hi guys, and welcome back to our channel. So I'm Robin if you've not met me before, and Kyzie. This is my fluffy German Shepherd Kyzer, who gets a bit shy, I guess. I'm going to be talking about Kyzer's dysplasia and living with a dog who has a lot of health issues. If that's something you're interested in, keep on watching. So the health issues Kyrie's had, some have been like lifelong, some have been short term, which can be sorted by operations or medication. And yeah, I would say Kaiser's my first dog, so going into the realm of owning a dog was different to my guinea pigs and my rabbits. Obviously, price wise, neediness. He's always got to have someone there, unlike a cat maybe. So we got puppy. We got Kyzie when he was 7 or 8 weeks. We picked him out at 5 with the litter, and it was gorgeous. Obviously, they should have been hit scored. He did, his parents did, but we didn't really understand and wasn't explained to that very well. And then Kyzer was about 6 months, and me and him were on a dog walk on our local golf course where we live. It was quiet as a soul, and I could hear a popping sound coming from Kyzer. I listened to it a bit more, went for a couple more walks that week, and I realised it was his hips. So obviously being at 6 months, you're a bit like, oh, I know German Shepherds have hip issues, but not at 6 months. Luckily, he was insured from the day we got him, so we weren't worried. Took him in, and they said, oh, because he's a German Shepherd and he's young, he might not be covered, but we'll put a claim in. And relieved we were. The pet insurance that we had, I think at the time, was Direct Line. Yes, covered his hip operation. So we got offered to have the full hip replacement or a trial new thing that our vets were trying then, 6-7 years ago, where I will insert pictures on the screen, but the ball joint of the hip will be cut off. That will all disappear. So you'll just have this bone left, and then muscle will grow into it, so the joint can't dislocate or pop out, which it was doing. They said it could have been down to like breeding or just generic, unfortunately, Kyzie. So it is what it is. We got him scored, and unfortunately they said it's quite a possibility that his hips will be causing issues to then his shoulders and his elbows when he's older. So we got both his hips done. First operation took forever to heal. They said it would have taken like 3 to 4 months, and we can get the second hip done. It probably took about 6 or 7, maybe 8 months. It was just a really slow recovery. Second hip, Kyzer bounced back perfectly. Now he runs around like a happy dog. He's never had issues with his hips until now. So Kyzer is nearly 8, 8 in October, and for some reason he's got really severe muscle wastage. If you follow us on Instagram, I keep you posted about his health issues. So yeah, that was an issue when he was a first puppy. Then one day, I don't know if he drank too quickly when we weren't in the kitchen. He must have been about a year or so. He went into our garden at the time with my parents, and he just collapsed. And we were like, what is going on? My dad just scooped him up, we ran him to the vets, and yeah, his stomach had flipped. We don't know why. We hadn't fed him at that point or anything. We hadn't been out for a walk. We make sure, obviously, not to run them around and overdo them with exercise because of those issues which can happen. I know. So yeah, so that happened, and they were like, it could possibly happen again. He may not survive, but luckily, touch wood, it's not happened since, and we do closely monitor him anyway. And then we weren't going to get him neutered yet, but then one of his testicles never dropped. So all round about the same time, Kyzer must have been about 3 or 4 at this point, and we were like, okay, what's the issues? And like, possible cancer. So they kept having a look, and they said, we don't know if it's causing him any discomfort. So we decided to have the operation when he was about 3 or 4, and they cut him all the way down because they couldn't find it. For some reason, it was really, really tucked away. And yeah, they got that out, removed him, and since then had no more issues. But obviously we weren't going to breed him because of his hip issues. And to be honest, there's enough puppies in the world. We were happy with just our Kyzer. So that was that, nice and quiet. A couple years later, he's maybe 6, 7. All his skin and all his nose decides to disappear. which we were like, oh great, I don't know what's going on here. Took him to the vets and they diagnosed him with an autoimmune disease. It's like stress related for him, so I can't remember. I think there was a lot of stuff like moving around in the houses, and there was a lot of family changes and people moving away. So I think, are you right? A lot of changes in that world, in his environment. What do you want? So we ended up getting him on like special tablets, which he's on, and now the vets just prescribe them to him when he ever has a flare up. So when we moved out with me and my fiance last October, November, he had a bit of a flare up between his paws on his face. Gave him, I think, some specific antibiotics, and they done the job after a couple of weeks. So that is something which always is, and it's not worth claiming because it's not that expensive and it's not that often. So with his pet insurance, we've always covered. With the balls, his testicles not dropping or his balls not dropping, we just paid that outright. I think that was like £250. We didn't bother claiming through that. So his hips were around £4,000 each, might have been a little bit less, but we got hydrotherapy with that we didn't really know at the time till it ran out. We didn't read the policy that it was covered, so but that was something to keep in mind and always check out if you do get that. And then the most recent issues is Kyzie had a lump on his elbow, which we weren't sure which was causing him limping, and random lameness since last November. He'll randomly wake up some days and really struggle to walk on his front left leg or front legs, and then sometimes you rest him and he's brilliant, he can run for miles, and then some days he can barely walk 10 minutes. What do you want? Yeah. So he's very up and down, so we got the vets to have a look. But our experience recently with the same vets who've done all his treatments and we've always been satisfied was atrocious, I'm not gonna lie. So we took him down, I explained what I thought was wrong with him, explained his history, which they knew was on the records. So they said we'll do an x-ray and like a form of like a biopsy on this lump. The lump ended up just being like a little cyst thing, so that was fine, but they were like, right, we'll put him under sedation. We signed all the disclaimers, and then boom, they called us whilst Kyzer was under sedation saying, oh, now we suggest a CT scan and that will be £2,000 to £2,500. And I said, but it's not a dire emergency, why didn't you discuss this further? And the vets never really gave us a straight answer, and I said that's a lot of money, and they're like, well, we have payment plans. It was just kind of quite pushy and there was no real explanation. I say, he had all the CT scans of his hips and everything, why didn't you just do all that originally before waiting for him to be sedated? And I was just really not happy with the way they deal with the situation. At the moment he's not limping, he's pretty good. It's more my muscle wastage on the hips, which they said they can't really do much about except look at hydro and just keep exercising him. So with his elbows and shoulders, we are just monitoring that. It's a lifelong condition which we know we will just manage. Obviously where we live now, there's no stairs, we're a ground floor property, so we don't have to worry. We make sure we don't overwork him, we watch his body language. If he gets tired, we make sure we bring him home or rest him, and just don't push his limits, because he is becoming a bit of an older dog and he is a bit of a heavier dog, but they said his weight is perfect for him, or we could even put a little bit more on. But yeah, so at the moment, living with a dog with a lot of health issues is fun. I wouldn't change it for the world. And yeah, I love him to bits. And as much as he causes us upset and stress about him, he's still a happy, loving dog. At the end of the day, he's a German Shepherd. It is the type of issues that breed gets. So research, we always knew. It was just a gamble. I don't know if any of his other litter mates have had the same issues, but I'm just happy that we have him, because I don't know if any other people would put him through all this. But I don't think we will be operating on his two front legs. It's just so stressful for him. And at the moment, he's a happy little dog and they don't think he's suffering too bad and he's not in too much pain. And if he is, he's on pain relief. So yeah, I would say pet insurance, or put money away just in case you have a claim like that come through. So like the x-rays and everything wasn't covered because there was a complication with the pet insurance, so we weren't with them for 1 year and went with someone else, and because we broke that 1 year not being with Direct Line, they said, oh no, it's a pre-existing, we won't cover. So that was all in all that, and the biopsy and everything was like £800+. And yeah, it's a lot of money. So I didn't even question it. It was paid, and I want the best for my Kyzer. And yeah, that is the big responsibility of getting a dog and having health issues, but you never know what you're going to get with a puppy. You might have a dog who might get hit by a car and it was healthy way before. You just don't know. So thank you for watching. This is Kyzer's health issues for the rest of his life. Let me know if you've had any similar situations with your vets not being very good at communication down below, and follow us on Instagram. I'll see you next time. Bye.